Hi there, my name is Kendrick and welcome to Travel and Live Free. In this video, I'm going to talk about 7 countries that I visited that I had a really bad travel experience in, and that video is going to come up right now. Despite the fact that I had a bad experience in 7 of these countries, there have been moments too where I enjoyed traveling those countries. It's just that those bad things were so bad that they have been ingrained in my mind and I cannot forget how bad they were. This is not saying those countries are bad per se, they might just be a bad travel experience for me, and had I gone there another time, maybe it would have been much better. So without further ado, the first one on the list is Egypt. So the reason why I had such a bad experience in Egypt was the never-ending scamming and lying. It just pissed me off so much that the moment I got out of the airport, there was already a taxi driver trying to scam me. And throughout my whole experience in Egypt, someone is either trying to scam me or lie to me, and the harassment never ended. Whether I was in Cairo, which was the worst of the harassment, to Luxor, to Aswan, the harassment never ended. The moment I stepped out of my hotel room, someone was already trying to scam me, someone was already trying to harass me, and it was just such an annoying and frustrating travel experience. I know for some people they love that harassment because they think it's a fun banter with the locals, but for me I absolutely hated it, and that's one of the reasons why if I ever go back to Egypt, I'm gonna be extra cautious because I know these scammers and harassers are coming my way. The second country on the list is Myanmar. So Myanmar actually started out pretty good, but the longer I traveled there, the more bad things happened to me. This is not saying Myanmar is a bad country per se, it's just that I had a bad experience when I traveled there. First off, when I was in Bagan, the locals threw a banana peel at me, and they clearly did not like me as a tourist there for some reason that I don't know. Maybe it was just bad luck and I was the random tourist that got thrown a banana peel at blatantly by a local. Otherwise, it was not a pleasant experience. It got even worse a few hours later when I got a really bad food poisoning that lasted for the duration of this trip. It's probably the worst food poisoning I've ever gotten in any of my travels, and to this day, I remember the suffering that I endured when I was in Bagan after getting food poisoned. To put a cherry on top, when I was in Inle Lake, the motel owner in the accommodation we stayed at scammed us in a bus ticket and gave us the wrong bus ticket. Not only that, she also did not want to give us a refund. Thankfully, the bus company did give us a refund and rebooked us for another bus. However, it was not the bus that we wanted because it was sold out because of this lady that screwed us. The next one on the list is Guyana, and mainly because of the fact that when I traveled there and I took a local shared van going from Latem to Georgetown, that I encountered a smuggler that left me stranded in the middle of the jungle at 2 a.m. at night. I made a more detailed video about that, so go check that out. But with that being said, the rough travel in Guyana made me dislike my experience traveling there. I'm not saying the country is bad per se, it was just that I had a bad experience there personally. Next one on the list is Italy. I really wanted to like Italy, but Italy is one of those countries that I experienced the most racism in among all countries that I've traveled to. The racism in Italy is so bad that I think a lot of tourists should probably not go there just because of the amount of racism you'll experience. I'm not saying all Italians are bad, but the probability of experiencing racism if you are not white is a lot higher in Italy. It's like you get a feeling when you travel there where they want your money, but they want you to get the fuck out. So I would say that Italy is not a country I would recommend to people who want to travel to Europe. I think there's a lot of European countries that are more friendly than Italy. And I'm not saying all Italians are bad. I did meet some friendly Italians as well, but I did meet enough racist Italians to sour my experience there. Next up on the list is Switzerland. And Switzerland is kind of like Italy, where the country I felt a lot of racism in, but it's not like Italy where it was in your face blatant racism. It was more like passive aggressive racism where I felt like I was unwanted there and didn't want me to be there. With that being said though, a lot of the young people in Switzerland are actually really friendly and they're not racist. I've only met one young girl who acted passive aggressive racist to me and my girlfriend when I was in Switzerland. But for most young people in Switzerland, they're not racist. Women in general are also not racist in Switzerland, and most of the racism I experienced from Switzerland were actually from the older Swiss males. Not saying they're all racist, but there was definitely that feeling where they made me feel inferior and that I should not be in their country. Next one on the list is Madagascar. So I actually enjoyed my time in Madagascar, except for the fact that there's a lot of corruption in that country and they kept asking for a bribe from me. But the worst part of my time in Madagascar was that food poisoning that I had before leaving the country. The food poisoning was so bad that I was actually sick for an entire week because of that food poisoning bout. And it was my second worst food poisoning ever after Myanmar, and it's also the longest food poisoning experience I've ever had because it took over a week for it to go away. To make matters worse, When I got to the airport to fly out of the country, my food poisoning was still really bad and they were trying to ask for a bribe from me. So I'm suffering, dying on the floor, and there's like an asshole trying to get money from me. So definitely my time in Madagascar was not a pleasant one, although the first 3/4 of my time in Madagascar was a good experience. So I'm not gonna say traveling to Madagascar is bad, it's just that I had a bad ending to my trip to Madagascar. And the last one on the list that I had a bad experience in is Albania. It has nothing to do with the people in Albania at all. The Albanian people are some of the nicest I've met during my travels. However, I got a really bad food poisoning in Albania. So I think the bad thing about Albania is their food safety is not very good. The people there are very nice, it's just that the food safety could use a lot of work, and the food poisoning that I experienced in Albania was one of the worst I've experienced during my travels. Anyways, that's about it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave your comments below, and don't forget to sign up to the Travel and Live Free newsletter where you can get a 10-step cheat sheet on how to travel around the world. You'll also get the latest tips and strategies on how to save money on travel for Canadians, how to go on around the world adventure travel for Canadians, and how to use travel to get more freedom in your life as a Canadian. You can sign up for that newsletter in the description below. Until next time, I'll see you then.